Well, hey there guys, this is John here of course, and you can see I got a little bit of a fire going, just enjoying the afternoon out in the woods here, and actually wanted to take the opportunity to film this video for you guys. Actually it was a video that I'd gotten tagged on a little while back from a YouTube buddy, Beactivelife, and the tag was, if you were in a survival situation, what one item, if you could only have one item, would you want with you? And you know, that was kind of the basis of the tag here, and you know, seems pretty simple, but when you start thinking about it, there's actually a lot of things to choose from, a lot of useful items to choose from. And you know, we've all seen the survival shows, the dual survivals, the Survivor Mans, and things like that, and even the videos here on YouTube. And you know, everybody's got their own approach, their own philosophies behind the types of gear and the specific gear that you need to carry. And a lot of people have actually boiled that down to, you know, the 3 things you need, or the 5 things you need, or you know, whatever the number is and whatever the things you actually need. And you know, that's all well and good. It's great. You know, it's great to be prepared. It's great to have that knowledge and those philosophies to back it up and to kind of go off of. But you know, when I got to thinking about this, you know, I just really thought, you know, aside from all these survival shows, which are really, you know, they're really exciting, and they're kind of actually, of course, meant to be that way, or we wouldn't all watch them, you know, and just the topic itself of survival is just inherently interesting to us. You know, I think for a lot of reasons, those of us that spend time in the outdoors, and you know, even those of us that don't, it's just an interesting topic, you know. And so it's really easy to get into this stuff and kind of forget the common sense approach to it, you know, the common themes, I guess, to what survival really is. And survival, you know, from everything I know about it, is finding yourself in a situation that you are not prepared for and thus have to survive. And so my fire's kind of going out on me here, so let me get a little bit of smoke, or a little bit of oxygen to it and some flames back in it. So it should help with the smoke a little bit. But anyway, like I was saying, survival, I think, and this is my belief, is that, like I said, you find yourself in a situation which you're unprepared for and unequipped to deal with, and thus have to survive. You know, the pure meaning of the word survival. Now, if we've got all this gear with us, if we've got all this knowledge, you know, then we may still be surviving, or getting through is probably a more apt way to say that, a situation that's very difficult. But watching the news and all the you know, the stuff that I see, it's typically almost without fail the people that don't have the knowledge, that don't have the equipment, that don't have the outdoor experience, that find themselves in true outdoor survival situations. You know. And you know, it could be just a person that just wanted to go out for a day hike, that's not used to spending any time in the outdoors, jumps out of the car without a water bottle, with just a t-shirt on, whatever, hikes a little bit too far from the car, and that's about the last you hear from them. You know, that's what survival is to me, and that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. And so I wanted to take that approach with this. Now, getting in, you know, to some of the survival items to choose from, you know, you got stuff, and a lot of people tout this kind of stuff, you know, a container, boiling water, carrying said water, you know, water's obviously important. Shelter's obviously important for maintaining warmth. The #1 killer in the outdoors is hypothermia, and all these people that we hear about in the news, typically the #1 way they die is hypothermia, so exposure. You got cordage, good for making shelter. Shelter's important. Emergency blankets. You've got, you know, your fire strikers, things like that. You know, you've got your little survival knives, your big survival knives. You know, just your standard pocket knives. You know, knife is actually a very critical tool in the outdoors in general, and in a survival situation. And so, you know, there's a lot of gear that is definitely useful. And I'm going to actually I'm going to pick a piece of gear and show you, but what I want to say is my true #1 item that I want with me is knowledge. By far, knowledge. You can make do without some of this stuff. You can improvise. By far, I mean, there's garbage laying around all over. You can find a container out there pretty much, or you know, if the need arises, you can you know, just improvise and adapt. And it's like that with a lot of these things. And if you have the knowledge, then of course you have the means of making it through. You have the means of adapting to the environment, to the situation, and making do with what you have, which very well may be nothing. And with that said, like I said, that's not very exciting. You know, that having knowledge as your tool, you know, doesn't make for a very, very good video here. And if I did have to choose one item, one actual piece of gear, you guys already know what it would be if you watch my videos, and that would be a lighter. And the reason for that is, at least to me, obvious, and that is that it is the most easiest, reliable method of starting a fire quickly. That's my belief, my philosophy. If you guys disagree, that's perfectly fine. Not trying to start any controversy here. But lighter for me, definitely number one. And the reason for that, of course, is fire. Now, you know, fire is important for, obviously, to deter that number one killer, which is exposure hypothermia. It's a source of heat, a source of warmth, and you know, you're able to regulate it to the conditions, you know, so you're just able to stave off that hypothermia there. And of course, you can use it if you can find a makeshift container. You know, you can actually find natural ways of doing it, but you can purify, boil water with your fire. You can cook on it. You know, you can do all those things. You can make tools with it. And probably one of the more important things about it is that it actually provides moral support. Now that, you know, may sound kind of quirky and kind of weird, but you guys that spend your own time around the fire know exactly what I'm talking about. And it's like almost having another person along with you. You know, it's like, I don't know, you know, it's better for me than watching TV, I'll tell you that. Just kind of getting hypnotized by the flames, zoning off into the fire, and just watching the flames dance. You know, it's just got a life of its own. And you know, so there's almost like a companionship there. Now, I may be starting to sound a little bit weird here. You know, it's getting kind of late at night, and I kind of just waxing philosophical, but it is you know, it does provide that. It provides some type of moral support. You know that you have it. You know, if you aren't really experienced in the outdoors, there's a lot of things that are frightening out there. You know, when dark settles in, there's wild animals. There's all those noises out there. You know, that just obviously in the daytime don't seem nearly as threatening as they do at night. And if you're not used to that, you know, it can be quite scary. And you know, fire is just a really good morale booster in a situation like that, because it creates this sense of security, you know, in a sense. And I think it's that sense of security, that sense of companionship, that extra boost to your morale, just all those things that the fire provides you, for me, far outweigh the benefits of any other piece of equipment, any other thing that I may need. Now, of course, you know, water is essential to survival. Food is essential to survival. But if you don't have the will to live, and you know, you can't make it with you know, the temperatures that you're in, the conditions that you're in, you're pretty much not going to make it to the point where water is going to be a problem for you. So that's just my view on it. So, you know, anyway, I probably haven't covered everything here, and I probably made this video a little bit longer and more philosophical than it really needed to be, but I thought it was kind of interesting, got me thinking a little bit, and got me thinking a lot about you know, this whole survival thing, you know. And like I said, it's a fun topic, don't get me wrong, love it, I love it. I do a lot of my own survival videos. You know, I am not an expert by any means whatsoever, so never listen to me about survival, alright, because I don't want to get you killed. But what I do know is that I've spent some time in the woods, and spent some time learning from other people that are versed in these things. Spend a lot of time reading, watching the shows, you know, and I'm confident in my own skills, and I like to pass on what limited information that I have with you guys. And you know, you find that useful, you don't, either way, you know, it's just out there. So, and I know a lot of you guys do the same, and it's much appreciated. I've learned a lot of valuable information that way. So but anyway, guys, you know, really that's about all I got. Just interesting little video here, at least for me. It's been kind of fun doing this, kind of fun thinking about this, kind of thinking about what survival really is, and kind of what sometimes it's portrayed as. And you know, just in the end, I guess what I wanted to summarize is that when it boils down to it, it's Survival is surviving something that you're not prepared to survive. You know, that you actually have to survive, not just enduring something, a difficult situation, you know, with limited gear, limited knowledge, limited resources, you know, whatever the case may be. And so, you know, while it's fun doing these videos, you know, I think the real world stuff that would actually help people the most is, you know, the common sense stuff, like, you know, learn a little bit about what you're doing, you know, tell somebody where you're going when you go out, those types of things. Those are what's going to keep somebody alive, you know, the people that wander away from the car, that have no business being out in the woods, you know, just learning a little bit about, you know, the basics, you know, of that kind of stuff. Helps out far more than my lighter's going to help out, you know, than my knife's going to help out. You know, if somebody knows where to come find me at, you know, 10 o'clock when I was supposed to be home at 6 o'clock, that's probably going to be a lot more useful to me, because I'm not going to have to spend the night out in the woods with my little fire here, you know, listening to the branches cracking behind me. So, anyway, guys, that's all I got. Like I said, I've waxed philosophical far enough here, and you guys have had to listen to me ramble if you're still with me. So that's about all I got. And I am going to tag 3 more people, as the shooting of this video yet to be decided. So the next screen you guys are going to see is going to be a scroll of names, which are going to be you guys that got tagged. So looking forward to seeing what you guys come up with. Thanks again, Beactivelife, for tagging me on this video. It was really fun. Good excuse to get out in the woods for a couple hours this afternoon when I may not have otherwise. So much appreciated, brother. And thanks to all the you guys that watch my videos and listen to my silly little ramblings here. And that is about all I got. I'm going to shut up and enjoy my fire, watch dark settle in, and head on home. So you guys take real good care. We'll see you next time.